You may or may not be aware that today is International Men's Day. Some argue that we don't need such an event, given that so many areas of society are still heavily tilted in favour of men, especially when it comes to pay and careers. But those backing today's event say they're using it to raise awareness of issues that men generally don't like to talk about. And one of those is suicide. Let's speak to Martin Daubney, the columnist for the Telegraph and a high-profile backer of International Men's Day. And you're a man, Martin.
Yeah, last time I checked.
What is the point of all this? Because many people say, well, in a world of inequality, most days are men's days, if not all of them.
Yeah, I mean, it's a concept that's routinely mocked. Indeed, Jess Phillips, the Labour MP, did so at the Backbench Business Committee 2 weeks ago when Philip Davies tabled the motion that we should have a debate on International Men's Day in Commons, which was today. And that did happen. And it's quite simply, there are specific issues that affect men in much more tragic ways than women. For example, the emergency we have in public health, the silent epidemic of male suicide, 13 men every day. Are killing themselves, and we just don't really know why. Now, the Campaign Against Living Miserably, the charity that's right at the forefront of this, doing great work, made an awesome TV show with Professor Green on BBC Three recently. Guys are starting to talk about this, and that's all it takes. All we want is the ability to talk about things that are killing us, and that's not misogynistic.
Because the numbers are really quite shocking when it comes to male suicide in this country. Let's just have a quick look. And suicide is now the single biggest killer of men under the age of 45. In 2013, more than 4,800 men took their own lives. In 2013, 4,800 men committed suicide as well. And men are 3 times more likely to commit suicide than women. Nearly half of all men aged 18 to 45 say they've considered ending their own lives. And the problem is getting worse. The suicide rate in men is now at its highest level since 1981. It does beg the question, why not just call it this year International Suicide Awareness Day or something like that, so you wouldn't get people having a pop at you?
Well, because it's not just about suicide. I mean, to get this debate away today, we had to peg it on suicide because it's something that couldn't be laughed out of Parliament, OK? But there are other things. Domestic violence, the Mankind Initiative is a charity that's having its funding closed down in January. It's an outrage. Glenn Poole at Inside Mag, who's been running this, talks about other issues, family courts, divorce, alcoholism, substance abuse, homelessness, imprisonment, punitive prison fines. These are things that disproportionately affect men. That's why we need an International Men's Day to talk about a broad range of issues.
I mean, you've obviously met some resistance from certain people, but is there more traction, certainly when it comes to our lawmakers, to have a look at this? Well,
it's the 24th International Men's Day under its present guise since 2010 when Glenn took over. It's been the biggest and most successful. There has been some fun today. People have been having a pop at it. It's also World Toilet Day. People are saying, hey, are the two events connected? Yes, a man invented toilets, so thank us for that. But we've had 100,000 tweets in the UK, #1 trend all day. It's been a really positive and beautiful day. Historic debate by Philip Davies today. A really, really amazing outpouring of brotherly love.
And just broadening out a little bit, Martin, is there this concern that with any issue, people who take an opposing view can't leave it alone? They say, well, you should, if you're looking at that, you should be looking at this, rather than just thinking, well, you could have both.
Yeah, and I think we can get bogged down sometimes with this kind of Me Tooism. Well, you've got Women's Day, so let's us have Men's Day. And that did happen in the start of this debate, and so it was perceived as being somehow anti-woman that were being pro-man. But you can't tell me that male suicide isn't something that affects women as well. I've put my friends in the ground who've got 3 daughters and a wife. It affects everybody. That's why we need to talk about it on days like this.